Welcome back to Bay Area Panthers Weekly. Once again, Mike Pulaski here. Panthers with a huge win this week versus the Massachusetts Pirates, 45-30 on the road, 3,000 miles from their home in Morgan Hill. So great to have a win to finish the season. Great to have an incredible defensive effort. And they got 4 takeaways, actually, really 5 takeaways in this game, but a couple of them won't count. We'll talk about that in just a second. But the dude who got the lion's share of the takeaways is with me right now, Joe Foucha. And Joe, you've had an outstanding season all season long, but this game in particular, you had an incredible night. You ended up taking the ball away 4 different times, 3 interceptions in regular play. One got called back for a penalty, and one on a 2-point conversion attempt. And I've just got one question for you: why did that dude keep throwing you the ball?
Well, I was kind of confused too, because I'm sure he did some research. He got a former teammate on the team, Tyrese Chambers. So I was kind of confused, but I made the most of my opportunities when the ball came my way.
You definitely did. Have you ever had a game like that before? I know. So for those of you that didn't hear the first show when Joe came on, he played at at Louisiana State, LSU, and at Arkansas. And so a player from the SEC, great football player. You've had some big time games. Have you ever had a 3 interception game like that?
Well, no, but I came close. Mississippi State. That's when I got Player of the Week. I caught 2 interceptions actually. Maybe would have been a chance to catch 3, but that was about the most I caught in the game. So, and then 2 of them counted. So right now I'm still chasing after 3 picks right now in a single game.
Well, I love the fact. So you and Trae Meadows are the league's leaders, right? You're both tied right now in terms of interceptions. And I talked to Trae after the game and I said, hey, so when he got that third pick, were you like worried a little bit, like a little competition between you guys? And he's like, well, I wanted him to have the pick, but at the same time, I kind of wanted to keep my title. So talk about that competition between you guys, because 2 of the league's leaders on the same team is unheard of.
Yeah, so I feel like with me and Trey, we challenged each other at the beginning of the season to see who would have the most picks, and I guess it pushed us to both be at the top, be the top dogs. So just us pushing each other, just being a ball hog, always trying to be around the ball. I feel like that made us better, and getting interceptions or just the effort that we have when it comes to getting interception is almost like, because me and him, we competing. Even Tyler Watson, before he got hurt, he had 5 interceptions, and he's still at the top. And he been out a few games, so just the competition between us three, not really just us three, everybody on the team, as a defense, even our D lineman got picked, so
That's right.
just the competition and that it pushed us to go even harder.
I mean, what were you thinking as you're lining up? You're obviously playing your assignment, but to get the opportunity for 3 picks is rare. What were you thinking out there? What kind of zone were you in?
So I was in the zone actually, and most guys, this is a game that most people, it's almost like one of those games where you're not playing for nothing, but that wasn't the case for me, because I played against the quarterback actually when he was at Bama, and I was supposed to pick him off, and I said this game will be the game when I pick him off. So that kind of was like my fuel to the fire right there, that we played each other before, and I was like this close to like pick six in it. And so this was one of those games I was like, this my chance right here.
The first time you and I talked, you described yourself as a physical player, right? Your safety, play corner. You play corner in this league, obviously, but I also play safety in college. You put a hit on a dude in the corner of the end zone in this game that was just nasty, because he was catching the ball, going up for the ball near the wall, and you literally accelerated through him going over the top of the wall. What were you thinking in that moment? And like, what do you think that says about you to the rest of the players in this league?
Well, they know I'm a guy that's gonna bring it every single time. In that moment I know it was gonna be a high bar. I know he was gonna have to jump very high. And usually it's not a wall right there. It's like the back of the end zone.
Right.
So I just knew, like, eventually in outdoor game I would accelerate and just push him out of bounds. But I know I could be even more physical because there's a wall involved, and I sent him like in what, like the second, third row. So yeah, so when that ball in the air and I can't get it, 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure the offensive player, the receiver can't get the ball. So and that anything as you've seen the play in the end zone.
That was nasty. We started calling that contact corner during the broadcast because everybody was getting hit down there. A guy got hit in the head with the ball. You put that dude up in the stands. I mean, there was a lot going on in that corner during the game. But your defense was absolutely flying around the field. And I'll be honest. So when we played Arizona, when the Panthers played Arizona earlier in the year, and I had the broadcast, I was watching it, and Arizona was really physical. And I thought in that game, Arizona out physicaled the Panthers a little bit.
Yeah,
I thought,
talking about the game.
in Phoenix. Yeah, in Phoenix. And so then I was thinking, okay, well, that's the team that won the championship last year. Is that the standard? But I haven't seen any team in this league play as physical as you guys played last week. That said, you're going into the playoffs this week, playoff start. This is a great time to peak. What has got your defense going right now? Because you are playing as physical, as violent a football as I've seen you guys play all year long.
Well, the first and foremost, our coaches putting us in a position to make those plays, and the chemistry that we have as a defense. Every day in, day out, we have a standard. We have our identity as a defense, and then also too, like we adjust a lot. Like we plug in, we fix things, and I feel like that's what make this pro football because we switch it up. We do a lot from the back end, and I feel like it just make us better as a overall day in and day out.
No doubt. Now, Tyrese Wright is a guy who is incredibly physical. We talk about him all the time on the broadcast. I want you to answer this. I'll put you on the spot. Who's more physical, you or Tyrese?
That's a good question. I mess with him a lot on that. I feel like both of us are physical guy. Like, he brings the fuel. And that makes me want to bring it every day. Um, but I can't answer that question. We're just gonna have to find out eventually. So I'm not gonna answer that question. I don't want upset. I should upset him, have him knocking some heads off this weekend. So you
Right.
know what? I'm gonna say I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that.
That's it's a nice way of being respectful of your teammate.
Yeah.
But both you guys, I mean, it's just so physical, so violent. We talk about it. Playoffs are coming up this week. And so you're going to play Vegas, the Nighthawks. You've seen them 2 times in the last 5 weeks or so. What do we know about the Vegas Nighthawks?
Well, Vegas they're good. They're good, a great team. Overall, they got a great defense. They got a great offense. They play both quarterbacks. That's not really you don't really see that too often in this league. But it fits their play style. So I feel like they got a good system over there. They got a great running back. So I feel like it's gonna be a great game. They got an overall good team. And then I mean we just got to stop the quarterbacks. And that'll take care of the rest of the game.
You had an
And they have some great receivers too. I can't forget that. They have some great receivers. They're doing some good things over there, breaking some records and stuff like that. So it's definitely gonna be a great one to watch.
for sure. Does it help that you're playing at home?
I definitely agree. That it helps, playing at home. That's kind of what we were big on this season, just making sure that we secure those playoff spots that make sure those two playoff games are home. Because everyone wants home field advantage. And then the crowds uh help the game out a lot. As you seen when we played Vegas last time on that last play with Trae Meadows, how it was like I feel like that was the loudest I ever heard the Saps at that moment on that play, and I feel like it's gonna be the same environment for the first round playoff game.
How much does it help to have the crowd with you like that? Because it would be great to get a huge sellout crowd for this game, right? To get people behind you in the stadium. How much would that help?
I feel like that'll help out a lot. The from like on third downs, fourth downs, because it's gonna be a lot of those situations. And the louder the crowd is, the easier I feel like it is for the defense because there's a lot of chaos involved. But it's already a fast paced game, so and then it's hard to communicate for the offense when the crowd is like third down, fourth down is loud and screaming. It have a lot of effects on the game, especially on fourth down.
No doubt. And you've played in loud environments being from the SEC. you've prepared for this kind of stuff. How is preparing at that level? How has that helped you learn how to prepare at this level?
I feel like it definitely helped out a lot. Playing in the SEC, it's a 70,000 to 80,000 crowd. I mean, it's loud. Um, like I always take it back to like my first time beating Alabama. When I was at LSU, it was so loud. I think like the next day I went to class, the professors, like it was almost as if an earthquake happened. It had like stuff on the ground. That's how loud it was. And so, just being in these games, it makes it easier for me.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get into a big environment because you've already been there. With the playoffs coming up, what mindset does a team have to take into it?
I feel like by our team, growing together, um, we got to experience some failure. We got to, of course, experience some success as in winning. I feel like that made us a better team together. Because I mean we didn't just start off as a, we all had to learn. We're a young team, so just us being at this position now, I feel like our team has a mature mindset, with a lot of younger guys on the team. So I feel like that's gonna help us go farther in the playoff on this playoff run to the championship.
And for you, obviously, you came into the season, had some experience, got injured a little bit, you grew through it, right? You improved, you overcame the injury, and now you're playing at the top of your game. What has been the biggest part of your growth this year?
Well, just being in the scheme being in the scheme for a second time. I feel like I got comfortable. I know where guys belong. Um, I know every position on the field, so I feel like that helps me out knowing what risks I can take if I could take a risk. Doing my job. Um, so I feel like it makes it easier for me and making the plays that I have been making, and then the physical part just come naturally.
And so if you were going to send a message to the rest of the league with you going into the playoffs, right? It's final question. What is that message? What message is Joe Foucha sending with his play this last game, the last couple of games, to the rest of the league with the Panthers entering playoffs?
Well, I feel like I haven't played my best yet. So I'm challenging myself. This playoff game, I'm taking it to the max. Like I said, like even today, I got two massages today. I got another massage tomorrow. So I'm turning it up a notch. Definitely going into the playoffs. I feel like they haven't really seen what I really can do yet.
Well, that's awesome because you keep taking the ball away like you did. You're going to help your team get to that final game. So awesome job this week. Great watching you play. Great job on being the co-leader with your teammate Trae Meadows in terms of takeaways.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And don't forget, you can catch that game live, SAP Center, 5:05, Sunday, May 3rd. Come down, root the Panthers on. If you aren't able to make that game, you can catch the call right here, KMBR 1050. Kevin Richardson, myself will have the call. Pregame will start at 4:50. So don't miss it. Panthers versus the Vegas Nighthawks this week. I appreciate you listening. I'll catch you next week on the next edition of Bay Area Panthers Weekly.
Go Panthers.